funny. I sit here and I think about what I want to say, and I'm like, why do I need to think about what I want to say? If I don't like the video, I won't post it. So it's weird how I just sit here and start thinking. Um, if you get a chance, well, if you have the time, go click on my community post. It just says post now. If you go to someone's channel, there's playlist, video, all the little things. The last one says posts. It used to say community post. Click on it. I'd like all of you to listen to this post of mine and tell me what you think. Read what I wrote about it. And then if it sounds interesting to you, where am I supposed to look? See, I'm not even sure. It's here. It's got to be there. I'm looking over here like it's weird. And if you are curious about the game Dungeons and Dragons and you'd like to get a feel for what playing D&D is like, check my post right before the one before that one. And read what I said there before listening to it. I've got a timestamp in a pinned comment so you can click on just the part of the video that I'm talking about. I put it in the pinned comment along with errata because I made mistakes in my narration and I've had to post that. Unfortunately, nobody's listening to it, so it doesn't matter, which is very frustrating for me because I wish I could get people to listen to my story, and it's very, very frustrating. But you can't force people to do something they're not interested in doing. I've shared it and shared it. It doesn't work. But that's not what I wanted to talk about today. What I want to talk about today is we all believe weird things, don't we? We all do. Religious people and atheists. And what I'm about to say, if I'm wrong about anything, just let me know. Hey, you're wrong about that. That's not true. Just point that out to me. I try not to be dogmatic in anything I say unless I know it's true. Then I'll be dogmatic. Okay? Someone in the comments of one of my videos is a flat earther. I couldn't believe I had a conversation with a flat earther. I think I've talked to flat earthers before. I'm open to the possibility that we're wrong and the earth is flat. Why do I say that? Because I've listened to these people, and there was a guy interviewed on TV. And he said, oh no, I know the earth is flat. And he had a disc with him. He showed the disc. This is what it looks like. He said, do you know that no plane has flown over the North Pole? You can't do it. Because you see, if the disc is flat, if I don't have a disc with me, there's an ice sheet that goes around the entire disc. So if a plane tried to fly over that, there's nothing there. You'd be in outer space. So he says it's never happened. And he said, and this is how he knows the earth is flat. And I'm like, really? There's no plane flight that has gone to the North Pole and just kept going and is now going south, or to the South Pole and kept going and is now going north. That's never happened? I find that hard to believe. Wouldn't that prove one way or the other? I mean, all we got to do is have a pilot go, here I am, I'm flying, here's my rate, here's my instruments, we have a live feed. Here I am, I'm flying to the South Pole, and all of a sudden I'm going north. And you could film the whole flight so that you could go around the world, proving the earth is round. And if you can't do it, now I'm thinking maybe the earth really is flat. So why didn't somebody do that? Here's another one. Because the guy said, it's a known fact that the earth is flat. I said, if it's a known fact, everybody'd know. He said, it's only a known fact to those who know. And he said, go watch this video. I watched it. It was interesting. Somebody with a powerful Nikon camera zoomed in on a ship that was beyond the horizon. You couldn't see it when he backed up the camera. You just see the horizon. You don't see anything. And he zoomed in, and all of a sudden you could see the ship. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That doesn't prove the earth is flat, but that's pretty good, because you think it disappeared because it went around. And it's like, nope, there it is. It's a 54-second video, something with his Nikon camera zooming in on the horizon. And it was interesting. Doesn't prove it, but it was interesting. And then he said there's one about sunsets, that the sun isn't actually setting. Because I'm like, if the earth is flat, there's no sunset. The sun is going like this. It's going around in an area. I'm like, so it just disappears and we see a sunset, but it's not, it's still up there? That's ridiculous. It's not. The earth isn't flat. He said, no, there's a video about that too. And I don't fully understand that. But if the earth is flat, I want to know. I'm not one of these people who says, oh, there's no way. It's blah, blah. I've seen flat earth videos. Most of them are stupid. They're pretty dumb. There's a guy holding an airplane on a globe and he goes, look what's happening. Look, I'm now upside down. I'm like, oh yeah, you just proved it. There you go. He literally, this guy's doing this. An old guy. Gray beard and everything. And he goes, I'm not an idiot. I'm like, you're kind of an idiot. Look, my plane is upside down now. He was serious. If this was sarcasm, he's a really good actor. Because he seemed very serious about this. And he in his mind, he'd just proven clearly the earth isn't round. Because look at the airplane. It's upside down now. So, religious people believe silly things. I think there's still over 1 billion people in the world who believe that this being that we call God created the heavens and the earth, and then created a guy and a girl, a man and a woman, and put them in a garden. And the whole Adam and Eve story is literal. And it's bizarre to me how many people still believe that. So you've got God and you've got the earth that he created, and then he creates two people, and then they have kids and they have kids and blah, 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 blah. And 4,400 years ago, he flooded the whole world and 8 people got off the ark. And from those 8 people and the people that got off the ark, all animals have formed in all the varieties of species. The koala bears somehow went to Australia. We don't know why. All dogs came from 2 dogs that got off the ark. In 4,400 years, we have Chihuahuas and Great Danes. And all species and all the critters and all the bugs and everything was on the ark 4,400 years ago, but evolution's a lie. You literally believe in super evolution while claiming it's ridiculous to believe in evolution. How do you explain 2 dogs evolving into over 200 species of dogs in 4,400 years? I don't get it. But let's go with the atheist for a moment. And again, anything I'm saying, if it's wrong, I'm not being dogmatic here. I love when atheists say they don't believe. They only go by what they know to be true. Baloney. You believe all kinds of things. First of all, unless I'm mistaken, the atheist in general believes, and think about this for a moment. I used to watch the Science Channel, and I watched the thing about how we got our moon. I found it fascinating, and it was just, from what I remember, it was like, this is one way we could have gotten the moon. This is how it might have happened. And to the best of my knowledge, now this is what happened. This is how we got the moon. Have you ever heard this story? Gotta look there. I'm looking at myself. I gotta look at myself. The earth was a dead rock in space. There's no life on it. No water, no nothing. It's a rock. Okay. I can accept that as a plausible theory. And then one day, a smaller planet crashed into it. Almost destroyed the earth. The planet got obliterated. This is now considered, I think, this is now considered scientific theory, no longer like this is one way it could have happened. The planet that is now obliterated, is in pieces everywhere, ends up going into orbit around the Earth due to whatever forces would cause that to happen. Okay? So you've got this debris of a planet now in orbit, and it's a stream of stuff. what do you think happens? All of the debris, all of the rock pieces somehow fuse together. They bang into each other and keep fusing. Now I'm trying to picture rocks hitting each other and not just breaking into more pieces, but no, they form, like, and then this happens, and then more hits, and we get a round moon from that. I'm not kidding, this is what it said. And I'm like, how in the world do you get a round moon from a bunch of rocks colliding into each other? And then because of the moon that formed, weather started happening on the dead rock. So now we have rain, okay, so we're just going to assume that this, for some reason, this creates weather. And millions of years of raining on the dead rock creates the primordial soup where all of life begins. There's no God, there's nothing intelligent behind all of this. These are random occurrences that just happened. And this makes sense to the atheist. I don't know how this makes sense to you. I'm not saying atheism is wrong. There might not be a God. It might be true. Atheism might be true. I don't believe it, but it's possible. I could be wrong. I don't know that God exists. But let's just go with this. So now you've got this primordial soup, and lightning strikes the primordial soup, and so apparently they've figured out the mathematical probabilities of this happening, and it's something to the effect of 1 in 10 to the 40th power. How big of a number is 1 in 10 to the 40th power? They said if you laid, it's something like if you took quarters and just laid them on the ground, they would cover, and if you took so many, how many quarters would it be? Something like it would fill the entire earth or something like that. Or maybe it would fill like the state of Texas. I don't know how many. And if you had one of them painted red and you went down and picked one of those quarters, the odds that you would pick on that first try is the same odds that the lightning striking the primordial soup would cause protein molecules to form. I don't know what protein molecules are. And from protein molecules, all of life formed. So that we all have a common ancestor. The common ancestor is our protein molecules. Everything formed from that through evolution. The process of evolution begins the moment protein molecules exist, and they exist because lightning strikes the primordial soup and the impossible happens. You take this as fact? Can you prove that this is fact? Because if you can prove this is fact, then it's fact. I'm open to the possibility, but the possibility is something like 1 in 10 to the 40th power, which is a ridiculous number beyond absurdity. I think it's bigger than what I even described it as. 1 with 40 zeros. It's beyond insane. Do you really believe that? That the moon formed from a planet crashing into the earth that destroyed itself, and then rocks collided together and formed a round moon, which then caused weather, and then millions of years of rain, and then and you think it's crazy that people believe 8 people got off an ark and all life formed from that in 4,400 years? I think that's more likely. If I knew nothing, okay, and you gave me those 2 scenarios and said, which one do you think is more likely? I'd go the Noah's Ark. I don't think that happened either, but I'd go with that over that. Wouldn't you? What are we talking about here? Where am I wrong? I just want to know. I'm just curious. I hope you watch at least one, the first one. It's called Dream Time with Raisha. Let me see if I can do this without getting emotional. It's one of the most magical things I've ever written. It gave me chills when I first listened to it. So I'm hoping that I can get people to listen to it. And it doesn't matter that you don't know the story. You're right in the middle of the story. It doesn't matter. This chapter is about a dream that this woman named Raisha has. It's the dream I want you to hear. I want to hear your thoughts about what What did that mean to you? You don't have to know the story. You don't have to know the characters. There's a girl named Raisha. She has a dream. There's other characters in the chapter who will talk. Okay? 2 of them are goddesses. Don't worry about it. Just tell me what you think. And the other one is a D&D game that is in my story. People say, I've never played D&D, but I'm curious. Okay, listen to it and tell me what you think. Because that's how I believe D&D should be played. Or like this is a good example of a really good D&D game. I'm just curious what you all think, if you like it or not. And yes, I'm trying to get people interested in my story. Yeah, that's also what I'm trying to do. Absolutely. That's it. 15 minutes, 16 minutes, not too bad. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.